Hey, and welcome back to my channel. This is our Team Darley channel. My name is Amy, and today's video is going to be a book review. If you're new to my channel, then welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. We are a family of 4. We live in the Savannah, Georgia area. I have 2 kiddos, and I have my husband Chance, and then we also have a dog named Cooper who is actually sleeping right here beside my feet. He's always around, you guys, always. But anyways, here on this channel, we do lots of different types of videos like day in the life, anything lifestyle related, anything that we're up to. The last video I actually just filmed today, but I've already posted on my channel, is a Walmart clothing haul. So I want to do more shop with me's over here and just basically anything that we're interested in. So if you want to see more of my videos, and you're new, then make sure to subscribe and also click the bell notification button, and that way you will get notified anytime I post new videos. Also, I'm always interested to see what kind of videos you want to see on this channel, because I also have another channel. It's just Amy Darley, and I do lots of cleaning motivation and mommy life motivation, things like that over there. So that one is more of like a motivating channel for home decor, cleaning tips, and anything else that has to do with the home. So if you want to see that kind of stuff, you can check out that channel too. And then if you want to see all the lifestyle related content that I'm going to be sharing, then make sure to subscribe here. So anyways, I'm doing a book review. I've never done one of these on my channel before, but I'm super excited about it because I love books. Now, I don't really have a lot of time to actually physically read books, but I love listening to books on Audible. And I actually do have a coupon code. That way you can get a free month if you're interested. Now, I know a lot of you actually like to have a physical copy of the books, so that is amazing too. I will have links for all of the books that I mentioned in this video down in my description box too. So that way, if you forgot what I said, you don't have to worry about jotting it down or anything. You can just click on the little drop down arrow on the bottom of this video, and you'll see like the description box with all the links to all the books and everything, the titles, all that kind of stuff. But I prefer to listen on Audible just because I don't really have a ton of extra time to physically read a book, even though I love to read. But I usually listen while I work out, while I'm cleaning, while I am driving. The kids actually will listen to sometimes they'll put the headphones on in the car if they're watching a movie or something like that, but then their ears will start to hurt, so then they'll ask me if I can turn it up in the car. And so at that point, I'll just put in my Bluetooth headphones and I will actually listen to books while I'm driving. So I love doing it that way just because I feel like I can get through a book really, really quickly versus trying to find a few minutes each day to actually read the books. So I'm gonna tell you guys, I have read or listened to 6 books in the last few months, and almost every single one of them I have loved. Now, there were a few that I was just like, I mean, I'm glad I read them, or listened to them. I'm gonna keep saying read, but I'm glad I listened to them, but I wasn't really crazy about them. So anyways, if you are a book lover, I would love to hear any of your suggestions for books down below too. If you listen to Audible, tell me that too, whether you read books or if you listen, and then your book suggestions, because I have listened to a ton over the last few years and I just can't get enough. I love listening while I'm working out. I feel like, especially when I go on walks and runs and stuff, it's better for me to do that. It makes it go by quicker than just listening to music for me. And also, I'll get to a good part and I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna keep walking because I wanna see what happens in this part of the book. Like, I don't wanna stop, you know? So it actually makes me wanna go longer. But anyways, I have a notes section here on my phone. This is so laid back. I'll put the names of the books up on the screen too. But I have a notes section, and I actually, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I'll show you close up in just a second, but I actually, after I got done listening to each of the books, I rated it either like 1 star to 5 stars, and I put how many stars, and I kind of did my little review of the book right below it so I could remember what to tell you guys about that book. But anyways, I'm going in the order of what I read first to what my most recent book was. So hopefully you guys want to go listen or read them yourselves. All right, so book number 1 is called Luckiest Girl Alive. And the sun just kind of went behind a cloud, so excuse the lighting. So book number 1 is Luckiest Girl Alive, and I gave this one 3 stars. So this was the first of the last of the books that I'm going to share with you today. And what I basically said was that the main character is a girl named Annie, well, a woman named Annie, who was living the perfect life with an amazing career and soon to be married. So she was engaged. She had created a new life for herself after a traumatic high school experience. So she had this crazy high school experience that was so shocking in the book. And then so she's trying to like remake her life. She's trying to do things over and get away from all of that. So she's gone, she's making a new life for herself, but she finally has the chance to actually go back and tell her side of the story. But if she does that, it could ruin her perfect life. So she's got this huge internal struggle trying to figure out if she wants to go back and tell her side of the story. Now, the reason that I gave this book 3 stars is because from the beginning, I was pretty hooked on the book, trying to figure out what was going on, trying to figure out what happened. And there are some things that lead you to believe that there might be some kind of romance coming down the road that wasn't already there. So I felt like it was really good. It got me into it very quickly. But I only gave it 3 stars just because I wasn't really satisfied with the ending of the story, how it all ended and turned out. I was kind of disappointed. But overall, I did think it was a pretty good book and worth reading. All right, so book number 2 is Where the Crawdads Sing. And this was one that was highly recommended by a bunch of you guys on Instagram. And I have seen a ton of people have been reading this book lately. But I gave this book 5 stars. It was so good. Definitely one of my favorites that I've listened to lately. And I said when I first started this book, I wasn't sure if I was going to get into it, but quickly I got wrapped into it. The main character is Kaya, who is known as the Marsh Girl. Her and her family live in a shack out in the marsh, and her father was abusive. Her entire family leaves one by one to escape her father, and she is the only one that's left. Her father eventually leaves too, and she has to figure out how to take care of herself. Eventually, she is the prime suspect for a murder, and everything she's worked for is put at risk. The book jumps back and forth from past to present, where investigators are trying to solve the murder mystery. The ending was a little bit surprising, but I loved it. So this one I said I gave 5 stars, and actually a lot of the books that I read or listened to in the last few months were kind of the same format, where it would jump from past to present to past to present, and you're trying to figure out what's going on as you go throughout the book. But this one was really good. I wasn't crazy about the reader, the person that was like doing the voice on Audible with this one, but the book was so good. And seriously, like, I went through this one super fast, and everybody I know that has read this book has said it's probably one of their favorite books that they've ever read. Now, I have other books that I've loved more, but this one was so good, and I highly recommend it. All right, so book number 3 is called Behind Closed Doors, and I also gave this one a 5-star review. This one was my favorite book out of all the ones that I'm sharing with you guys today. This one was my absolute favorite. It was so crazy, so many twists. I loved it. So I love how this book was written. It goes back and forth. Again, this is another one that goes back and forth from present to past. And it's about a woman. Her name is Grace. She's in her 30s, and she meets the man of her dreams. He loves her despite the fact that Grace has a sister who has Down syndrome, and he knows that eventually Grace's sister will come live with her. So he's accepted the fact that, you know, she's got this sister that's going to be living with them later on after they get married and everything. So they do quickly get married, And everyone thinks they have the picture perfect marriage. But things are totally different behind closed doors, which is why it's called Behind Closed Doors. And the ending to this book was amazing. I love, love, love this book so much. It was another one that I went through super quick because I could not quit listening to it, and I wanted to figure out what was going on, what was gonna happen. It was so good. But it's funny because at the beginning you get this picture perfect, you know, family dynamic, or I guess not really family dynamic, but this picture perfect couple. And then you quickly get to the realization that it's nothing like that. And so the whole book, you're trying to figure out what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen. It's really good. It's so good. All right, so that was the third book, and I would definitely say that was my favorite out of all of these. All right, book number 4 is called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I gave this one another 5-star review. I loved it. It was so, so good. And honestly, I don't even know. I think it was one that was just like suggested to me on Audible. I can't remember if someone told me to read this one or it was suggested to me. I remember looking at the reviews because I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to read this one or not, because I had been doing so many murder mystery books, which you're gonna see. It's just like one after the other. That's what I love. I don't know why. I just love books that have like suspense or mystery, or I'm trying to figure out what's gonna happen, twists and turns, all that kind of stuff that just keeps me interested. But this one's called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. And this book quickly hooked me very early on in the story. I read someone in one of the reviews that I was reading before I actually picked this book. I read in the reviews that someone put it reminded them of Pretty Little Liars, the TV show, and the book, I guess. I never read the books from Pretty Little Liars, but I did watch the TV show, and it's one of my all-time favorite TV shows I've ever watched. So if you haven't watched Pretty Little Liars, definitely go watch it. There are a lot of seasons and a lot of episodes, but it's totally worth it. But I agree. After reading this, it definitely had some similarities with some of the characters from the story. I put that this book had me changing my mind the entire book, and the ending was so unexpected but so good. This one's another murdery mystery book, and it's like the characters are teenagers that you're following the entire time. And so the entire time you're trying to figure out who killed this boy who was supposedly said that he committed suicide, but he didn't have any like symptoms of any type of person that would ever commit suicide. And so you're trying to figure out the entire time what actually happened to him, how he died, and just the whole time I kept thinking, oh, it's this person. No, wait, it was this person. Wait, it was this person. And so the ending was so good because it definitely was not expected at all how the ending turned out. So definitely recommend that book too. It was really, really good. All right, book number 5 is called The Woman in the Window. And I only gave this book 2 stars, but on Audible it has 4 stars ratings with over 2,000 something reviews. So apparently other people really, really liked this book, but I don't know. It took me a really long time to get into this book before any action happened. And a lot of it was confusing, not necessarily confusing, but I guess it just like jumped all over the place and you kept finding out new things. There were twists and turns at every point, but some of them I was just like, that's kind of dumb. I don't know. So basically what I wrote was there are lots of twists in the book. I just felt like the book took a very, very long time to get into before any real action happened. The book was about a woman who watches people from her window. So she lives by herself. She's in this house and she's watching all these people from this window, all of her neighbors, and then eventually some things happen and then something crazy happens that she sees from her window. People all think that she's crazy. They don't really believe her story. And then I just said I wasn't really happy with the entire plot and all of the twists and turns that it took, and I just don't really recommend this book. But like I said, on Audible it's a 4-star rating, so Apparently a lot of people really like this book. If you guys have read it, y'all let me know in the comments in case anybody else is looking at this book and possibly thinking about getting it or listening to it. I think it was another one that was just like recommended to me from Audible, so that's why I did it. I like the murder mystery type books, and so I guess this is why it was suggested to me. But like I said, I just didn't really like the way everything was done in the entire book. So take it or leave it, I don't know. But definitely check the comments to see if anybody else read and actually loved the book or what other people thought of it too. All right, so the last book that I read was called Then She Was Gone. I gave this book 5 stars. It was so, so good, especially after reading the last book that I talked about, The Woman in the Window. I got into this book so quick and read it within a few days. I was listening to it almost all day as I was cleaning or when I was working out, everything. I just couldn't put this one down because I wanted to get through it and find out what happened. But basically it's about a girl named Ellie. She was a teenager. She was this perfect girl. She was her mom's pride and joy. And then one day she goes missing and people think that she ran away from home. But even though she had no reason to run away, her mom just could never say that was it. Like, she just knew something had happened to her. There was not a good reason for her to be gone, all this stuff. So then eventually her family falls apart. Parents get divorced, and then about 10 years later, her mom meets a man named Floyd and they start dating, and then she meets his daughter, whose name is Poppy. And Poppy is a 9-year-old girl, and when she meets her, she is immediately taken aback, and she just can't believe how much she reminds her of her own daughter Ellie that went missing years ago. And so then this book also jumps from past to present and back and forth, so you kind of are getting bits and pieces of what happened along the way as you go back to present time, and you're seeing these other things, and her mom is figuring out a bunch of stuff. And so at the end, it's just a really, really good ending. I may have gotten chill bumps a few times while I was reading and may have gotten some tears, but the ending was so, so good. It was kind of sad, but it was also really good in the end. So this one I definitely recommend putting on your list of books to read. All right, so those are all 6 of the books that I wanted to share with you guys today. Currently, in case you're wondering, I have started a new book, and it's called Before We Were Yours. I saw someone actually suggest this on Facebook to one of my other friends, and I saw lots of people were suggesting this book, so I'm currently reading that one. I'll have to let you guys know later on what I think of it, how it was. If you've read this book, let me know what you think. This one is like a 13 hours, I think, and I have 11 hours and 53 minutes left. So I'm not very far in this book, but so far it's gotten pretty interesting, and it kind of reminds me of Where the Crawdads Sing. So anyways, that one's called Before We Were Yours, and I'll link that one below too, just in case you want to read it at the same time as me or listen to it or whatever. But anyways, I hope you guys had fun listening to my book reviews, and if you do like these, let me know and I'll keep sharing them. I'll keep sharing some of the books that I'm reading, and of course, let me know what you're reading right now or anything that you recommend, so that way I can put it on my list of books to read. But hope y'all have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!